Okay guys, I did a video about a week ago about abundance mentality and why it's really important if you want your life to be successful, why it's good to have an abundance mentality. But one thing I didn't talk about that I probably should have is how good it is when it comes to dating. Because I think it's one of the most important things you want to do if you want to make yourself appear attractive to girls, is to manifest a kind of abundance mentality. So if you didn't watch that video, I'll just explain it to you now. Basically, an abundance mentality is so if you go about life, oftentimes you're really worried about spending too much money. You're worried about fucking hell, just some people ballied up on a motorbike. So yeah, maybe you're worried about spending too much money, or you're worried. I guess worried about spending too much money is the best example. You know, you're saving as much as you can because you're worried there's not enough to go around, or all this kind of stuff. You know, in terms of business, you're worried about going into business because you think if I'm making money from business, then that's one other person who isn't. This is kind of common view in the West now, that there's kind of not quite enough to go around for everyone. But the abundance mentality says that's not true. There is enough to go around for everyone, so go and get it. And there's actually a fantastic story about Andrew Tate. Before he was really successful, he made a lot of money, and he went off to Slovakia on a sort of bender to just gambling, basically. And I don't know why he went there, but and Tristan Tate was at home, and was very happy that Andrew made all this money. And he gets a call from Andrew Tate. Tristan's like Andrew Tate's brother, and he gets a call from Andrew Tate, and he says, I spent all the money on a really expensive watch. And Tristan's like, what? Like, fuck you, you know, we've got lots of things we need to pay for, the car needs fixing, blah, blah, blah. And Andrew just says, oh, it's all right, we'll get the money back another time. That's a great example of the abundance mentality. So, because they did, at the end of the day, you know, it's a real sort of hustler mentality of like, oh, if you lose it, just make it all back again. And it's actually so true. Like, I've been thinking about it more and more. It's been a bit of a buzzword. I kind of thought it's I don't really believe in it, but I absolutely do, actually. Absolutely do. So how does this relate to girls? Well, I think where a lot of guys go wrong with girls, and I'm certainly good with this as well, is that they don't think in terms of abundance mentality when it comes to girls, and they'll hedge their bets too soon. So and this is deep. This is wildly unattractive for a girl, I think. Particularly if we're talking about sort of dating. You know, in the early stages of dating, maybe you're not really good. You know, in a couple, you're just sort of trying to attract girls to go on a date with you, that kind of thing. I think it gets slightly different as things progress, but just definitely in that early stage, no question, you want to appear in demands, because the truth is, this doesn't sound terribly good, but women like the idea of competing for a guy. Yeah. Well, they certainly like the guy who other girls are competing for. So if you give the impression that you're someone who's got a lot of options, then people find that wildly attractive. Now, it's very difficult to do, but I think creating an abundance mentality is not as simple as just sort of, you can't just click your fingers and you have an abundance mentality with women. I think you have to kind of develop it over time as an attitude towards how you go about trying to find girls to meet and stuff. So I talked a bit about the cold approach in the past. Let's say you went out to a girl, it was at a nightclub or a bar or something, and you got their number, then that's fantastic. Now, if you don't have an abundance mentality, what you do is you would stop there. You'd think, great, I'm going to see how this girl see what happens with this girl. I'm going to give her a message tomorrow. We're going to meet up. But the guy who has an abundance mentality will be like, okay, that's great. We'll see how that goes. Let's go and get 5 more people's numbers. And then when it actually comes to messaging the girl the next day or whenever, you're in a much better position because A, you're not putting so much on one date working out. And 2, you've got the impression, you're giving girls the impression that you're some really high in demand guy. And all you're really doing is just changing your attitudes a little bit towards dating girls. So yeah, there it is. I mean, you can sort of, I'm not necessarily saying I want it to be that way. You know, I like the idea of you know, don't really want to be like a player or anything, like, you know, cold approaching loads of girls all the time and, you know, having lots of sort of leads, if you will, or constantly texting loads of girls. So I'm not saying it's because I really like it, but it's just an observation I've really made, and I think it's so true. So if you want success in dating, it's something that's definitely worth accepting. And there you go again. And just see how it works for you.